happy Friday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kane. It's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractor Show, as well as Atlas Roofing. Thank you guys for sponsoring our videos. So let's get right into our weather headlines. We do have a marginal chance for some severe weather in the form of wind down in Southern California. And along with the severe threat, we also have some heavy rain as well as the continuing heavy snow up in the higher elevations. So we'll talk about that. And then getting into tomorrow, it should be a quiet Saturday. So make sure you get out there and enjoy the quietness, because on Sunday and getting into the beginning of next week, we're continuing to watch the potential for a decent severe weather event to unfold as we get into Sunday evening and into the overnight hours on Sunday into Monday. So we'll talk about all of this as well. But yes, let's get right into the lower 48, the current conditions across the country. So we do have some rain ongoing in the south, as well as some snow falling here and there in the northern parts of the country, and then the low out west. So let's zoom on into these areas first. Again, just some heavier showers, a few rumbles of thunder, no severe weather is expected here in the south. So just some, rain from Arkansas eastward into Tennessee, Mississippi, and into Alabama. And this will continue to push off to the east as we get throughout the day. And then going on into the northern parts of the U.S., again, just some lighter snow here and there from parts of southern Minnesota into Illinois, eastward into Illinois, and even along the western parts of Michigan. And then getting out west, this is really going to be the main story for the next few days. Right now, it is a very strong low pressure. You can see the spin off of the coast of California here in the Pacific, and it's bringing in a ton of moisture in the form of rain, mixed precipitation, as well as some very heavy snow in the higher elevations. And so we'll kind of talk a little bit about what's going on with that in just a second as well. So zooming back on out to look at our current temperatures, you can really kind of see it where that front is stalled out right now. It's 75 in Atlanta, 84 down in Miami. You go north, though, those temperatures drop big time. It's only 5 in Minneapolis at this moment, 26 down in Kansas City, and only 13 in Denver. And when you factor in those wind chills, it's only feels like -4 in Minneapolis, 3 in Sioux Falls, and really not much better as you head further south, where it only feels like the teens from basically Kansas City and to the northeast here. It's only feeling like in the lower 20s. If you want to get that warm weather, you got to go down south, basically from Atlanta southward, or even along the southern coast down in southern Texas. So here are our watches and warnings for the country. We do have a little bit of some wind chill advisories out in the northeast, but we have some more widespread advisories for those wind chills in the north. So let's zoom on in here. So we have some advisories going until tomorrow morning from Montana eastward into North Dakota and very far northwest Montana, where those wind chills can drop anywhere from 35 down to 40 below zero. If you're in the advisories for the wind chill warnings, those wind chills can drop to 15 degrees below zero, so it's going to be very cold. And then we do have some leftover blizzard warnings, as well as some winter storm warnings in effect for snow for the winter storm warnings. And then for the blizzard warnings, it's more for that ground snow. So snow that's already fallen, but those winds are very intense, so it's blowing up that snow that's already falling, creating some very low visibilities. And again, this main story is that low pressure off of California, creating a lot of snow, a lot of heavy rain, some windy conditions as well. And we also have some flood watches and flood advisories out for the Los Angeles area. A lot of rain is falling there, and like we mentioned yesterday, those blizzard warnings and those winter storm warnings, it's dumping a lot of snow, and it's measuring in feet in those higher elevations of about 8,000 feet or higher. So if you're one of the people living up in those higher elevations, you guys are getting dumped on. And speaking of getting dumped on, this is really in the form of for rainfall. This is for the next 48 hours or so. So from now until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Time, so I believe that is 6 a.m. Pacific, we are going to experience a lot of heavy rain across California. So Los Angeles, for example, we're expecting a little over 2 inches of rain from now through tomorrow morning. Burbank, you're closing in on 3.5 inches, and getting into Saturday into Sunday, you can see some more heavy rain is expected. And remember, this is basically in the form of rain up in those higher elevations. Remember, that's going to be falling as snow. So again, 2 to 3 inches of rain equals a lot of snow, anywhere 2, 3+ inches of snow, depending on those ratios that they'll be getting up there. So regardless, a lot of moisture is falling from this system. And as we get into the next few days, that system will finally start to track off to the east. So let's kind of see what's going to be happening. Again, we do have those showers across the southeast, and we could get a very light mixed precipitation here in Oklahoma down near the Red River Valley. It's not really going to accumulate to a whole lot. And again, we have that major system out west. Now, as we get into the rest of today and getting into tomorrow, again, those showers will stick around here in the southeast, start to move off to the east as well. We could see some light snow in the Great Lakes once again. And that system out west, it's really not going to be moving a whole lot, which is why that accumulating snow and rain are going to be as high as they are expected to be. And then finally, as we get into Saturday and into Sunday morning, that low pressure is finally going to start tracking off to the east. And as we get into Sunday afternoon, that's when we really got to watch here in the Central Plains for this system to kick on in here and give us that chance for severe weather. Speaking of severe weather, we do have a little bit of a chance of that down in California today. This is basically right now almost at 12:30 Central Time. So this is at 10:30 in the morning out there. We do have some storms that are expected to continue to develop and move off to the east as we get through this afternoon and evening. So at 5 p.m. Central Time, here we go. A line of storms is expected to form and then push its way on through areas such as Los Angeles. So make sure if you guys are down there that you guys are prepared for any severe weather that does develop. And then getting into the overnight hours, this will slowly push off to the east. So again, no hail with this, but we could see a gusty wind up to 60 miles per hour or 2, as well as a spin-up tornado. That's not out of the question either. And again, that will slowly push off to the east as we get into tomorrow morning. So again, no hail is anticipated today, but we do have that chance for wind. So we can zoom on in here from Los Angeles westward to Santa Barbara. We could see a few wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, as well as a potential spin-up tornado or 2. And this will continue for the rest of today through this evening and maybe a little bit into the overnight hours. But I think this afternoon, evening out there for you guys will be the best chance. Then getting into tomorrow, it should be a quiet day. No severe hail or wind is expected. So tomorrow should be all good in terms of severe weather. But then as we get into the end of our weekend into the beginning of the next week, that could be a different story. So here is our future jet stream. You can see that low pressure associated with this trough is out west. and this is slowly going to push off to the east as we get into the next few days. You can see getting into tomorrow, it's just hanging out there off the coast of California, but then finally it's going to get a push from another short wave trough and get off into the Rockies and enter the Central Plains as we get into our Sunday. And then I'm going to move on forward and stop it here at 2 a.m. Monday. So basically, it's going to continue to dig a bit and strengthen Sunday afternoon through the evening and into the overnight hours early on Monday. We will be watching the Central Plains very carefully for that chance of severe weather. So it's not just going to be in the evening on Sunday, it's going to continue into the overnight hours. So make sure you guys are on alert for that. And then getting into Monday, this trough will start to move off to the northeast, and we could see a chance of severe weather in the Ohio Valley. And then as we get into our Tuesday, that will lift off to the northeast, and then we could get another trough start to dig down to the south as we get into our Wednesday. So let's jump to Sunday for that chance for severe weather. This is our dew point, so we do have that moisture setting up, flowing in from the Gulf of Mexico. So moisture will be available as well as some instability. So getting it from Sunday into Sunday evening, this is at 11 p.m. Central Time. You can see that dry line is setting up in the western parts of Oklahoma down into central Texas. As we get into the overnight hours and into Monday morning, you can see the system is quickly going to push off to the east, and that moisture will get all the way up into the Ohio Valley, and that's where we may get a few storms around that low pressure as we get into Monday afternoon, basically from southern Ohio down into Kentucky, maybe parts of Tennessee, and then that will start to push off to the east as we get into Monday evening. So here is our instability. Here we go at noon on Sunday. Some instability will already be tracking up to the north and parts of western and central Texas. As we get into Sunday evening, this is at 6 p.m. Central Time, you can see some higher values here of instability are expected from Texas up into Oklahoma, stretching up into Kansas. And then we'll lose a lot of that instability as we get into the evening and the storms use up that fuel. And then getting into Monday morning, we'll have some instability associated with that low pressure system. So that's why we will have at least some chance of severe weather in the Ohio Valley on Monday. Instability will be there in the southeast, but again, instability has to be in the right location, and it's too far south from that low pressure system. So this is why that severe chance will be in the Ohio Valley and not in the southeast as of right now. So we're still a little too far out to get that really high resolution radar, but I thought I would at least show you kind of an idea in terms of timing. So as we get into our Sunday, we'll have some showers here and there. And then as we get into Sunday afternoon and evening, we're going to stop it at 6 p.m. We are expecting the storms to fire up in the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. They should begin as isolated storms, but then as of right now, the trends are showing that these storms will quickly become a line and push off to the east from Wichita down to Oklahoma City to Dallas. So right now, it looks like the wind will become the biggest threat by this time. Hail is still not out of the question, though. We're still a few days out from this. We'll continue to fine-tune this as we get closer. And then those storms will continue to push off to the east through the overnight hours on Sunday and getting into Monday morning. So here it is, our breakdown forecast. Again, things will change a little bit in terms of location, but for now, this is for Sunday. Most of Kansas down into western, central, and eastern Oklahoma, down to as far south as Dallas. You guys do have that chance for all modes of severe weather. So hail, wind, and a few tornadoes are possible across this region. Again, from Sunday afternoon into the evening, starting out into the panhandles and pushing off to the east as we get through the evening and into the overnight hours in central and the eastern parts of this risk. And then getting into Monday, there is a marginal chance for some severe weather for, again, parts of southern Ohio, eastern Kentucky, all the way down to Tennessee and into the eastern parts of the Virginias and into western North Carolina. So we got to start with Sunday, see what that brings, and then that will give us a better idea of what will happen into Monday. So make sure that if you haven't followed us already, that you do so. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, as well as our TikTok. If anything does get crazy, we will go hopefully live on one of these platforms. And then if you have any questions, concerns, if you just want to say hi, you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hailtrace.com and check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday.